Hey, today we're going to be doing a tutorial on how to make a game. This tutorial will be focused on movement scripts. With that, let's begin. The first thing we want to do is use Roblox Studios. It is the game engine we're going to be using. And second, once you're in, click plus new and base plate, and this is where we're going to code. In this area, there's a lot of things we want to do, but we want to focus on our movement scripts for now. Click Started Player Scripts and open up a local script. This is where we're going to code our movement and everything else. Almost. But first, remove print hello world, as this will not be necessary, and then copy down this code. Once you have put that code down, you can start the game and you'll see your character will move very fast. Although this is good, we want to add more to this by making the speed controllable and maybe tweaking the gravity. But before we do that, let's glance over the code a little. The variables at the top, meaning the local play, characters, and humanoid, are talking about variables. Each one of those variables are connected to a specific action. The action is in the actual game. Then these words connect to it and tell what we want to do. For example, human walk speed 100. We're talking about a game action walking speed and how we want it to go 100. And then our function button comes up. It works like a list, so whenever the function is called by slow jump, it's going to do a list of actions in it. So if I jump in the last piece of code, it goes up to the function and starts going through the list. And it will put my power, or my jump power, at 50. In this next piece, what I'm doing is playtesting and working out errors. And in this, I am focusing on adding the shift button to run, or to be more precise, my speed controller. This shows that all code does not run smoothly, just like how this project is handed in late, but in the end, it works out. At the end, this is my finished piece of code for my movement scripts. Everything's the same, except there's more variables. One's called user input service. This allows my character to go in settings and get more access to fine tuning. And then there's another variable called sprint. And this is connected to my walk speed. So this variable allows me to use true or false questions on it. Basically, adding a specific button to sprint. At the bottom of the script, there's two things. One is called input begin, and the other is called input changed. Input begin basically checks when the button or the shift key is pressed, and then it'll tell the function to begin. And the other, input changed, will check when my key is lifted up or down. So if I lift my key up and decide to stop sprinting, it would go through input changed. Here you will see that I could sprint and I cannot sprint. basically my regular walk speed, and then sprinting. The next thing we're gonna do is add a first person camera, meaning our character will look in first person and there won't be an option to move out of this first person look. These are the lines. The first script is saying make a camera, and then the second script starts with grabbing our character and then waiting for the player to exist, so then the camera can be put on, and then at the end, it is using a zoom function to give it that look. The next major part of making a game is animating. Basically, what we're gonna do is animate a couple things. Not gonna be added to the game, but it is good practice. What you want to start off is make a rig builder, which is essentially your character you're gonna animate. And then you click animate editor, and it pulls up a software where you can animate your character, and it will animate on 30 frames. Or you can choose and decide to animate on 60s or 120. There's also different kinds of bodies you can choose. There's R15, which means there are 15 body parts you need to animate, which is significantly harder, but the end process looks smoother and is more free. And then there's R6, meaning 6 body parts. This is super easy to use and is typically used for fighting games since it's really easy and the combos lock on. A major part is using keyframes. Keyframes are like poses. Whenever you make a new keyframe on a specific frame, it's going to make a pose that the last frame will have to move to. This is how animating will work. One of the last major parts is having a map. For this, I chose a template, meaning it's already pre-built, but there's multiple options. You can either go on baseplate and build your own map, or you can find assets that you can reuse from other people. For this one, I just used the template. Anyways, that's all I had. This is the movement and how it will work. And although the gravity needs maybe a lot of tweaking, it is pretty fun to play around with. For example, I can fly all over. But that's it. The tutorial is done. You're free to do whatever with your game. And of course, thank you for watching.